Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Niara Alexis, and today I'm gonna be showing you one of my favorite trends for the spring and summer, which is exaggerated blush. So let's get into it. I already have my foundation, concealer, all that stuff down, and I'm gonna be using 3 shades from Subtl Beauty today, and I actually am gonna be mixing all 3 of them. I personally like to mix my blushes to kind of create like a custom color for myself. Call me extra, but that's just what I like. So I'm using the shade Riveting Red, Coral, and Mauve. So I'm gonna be mixing all 3 of these today to make a nice pretty blush. I like to put cream products on with cream products. I do not put setting powder or on anything before I put on my blush. I personally think you put creams with creams and powders with powders. That's just how I roll. Now, because these are cream products, I do like to use more of a stiff brush to actually dip into the creams. But if you don't have a brush like that, like if all you have is the Subtl brush, what you can do is just pull the like silver part up a little bit more, and that will just kind of make it a little bit stiffer for you if this is the brush that you have. It's gonna be shocking at first, but you want to be very generous and liberal with your blush. Fun fact, y'all, blush is actually the product that will fade the quickest of all of your makeup, so you kind of want to apply it a little bit heavier than you would typically, especially if you're going to be at an event all day or you're going to be out all day with this makeup on. You're gonna want to apply a little bit more than you typically would so that it lasts all day. And I personally like to set mine with a powder blush as well, just so that it really is locked in and the color is there. So I'm just like going back and forth between all these blushes. Now, as far as placement, I like to place mine a little bit higher than the apple of my cheek. So if you can see, like, the apple of my cheek is right there. And I like to place it a little bit higher, closer to the cheekbone, up high, like by my eye. And I drag it up to my temple as well. I'm just going back in between all of these colors, mixing, picking them up. I will also say too, one of my favorite thing about Subtl blushes is that they're very pigmented, and especially as like a brown skin girl, it can be really hard to find blushes that show up on me and that give me the pigment that I need. But these all work really nicely for me. Even the shade Mauve, typically I feel like with any other brand, a shade like this would not show up on my skin tone, but this one does. So I'm just going back and forth, and listen, when you think you're done, just add a little bit more. And this is one side with blush and one side without. So you can see we have like a nice little natural little flush going on over here, and we've dragged it all the way up. That's also a really good way to like snatch your face up if you are wanting a little bit more of a chiseled, pulled back look. And I'm gonna do the same to the other side. I'll also say too, don't be afraid if your blush ends up a little bit underneath your eyes. I know you guys have seen it on TikTok and Instagram. Go ahead, mix it in with your concealer if you want. And I personally find that this just makes for like such a pretty summertime look. Now you can also too, if you want, bring this a little bit over your nose. I personally don't like that look. I like my blush to stay on my cheeks. If you want to exaggerate your blush even more, bring it over to your nose. I put down a little bit of setting powder, but I do want to brighten a little bit more underneath my eyes. So I'm actually going to use the control powder because it has more of like a white tone to it. For me, I can use this as more of like a brightening powder, but I just pick up quite a bit with a like little black sponge like this, and I like to add it like right on along my nose, right along my contour, just like in that inner corner, to like really brighten up my makeup. And I'm gonna let that sit and bake there for the rest of the time while I sit here and do my makeup. I'm also gonna take whatever I have left on here, and I just like to pat that over my blush to make sure I'm setting it in. Like I said, blush does fade the quickest, but if you really want this to last all day, like apply creams with creams and then set it with the powder. You can set it with like another powder blush if you want to add like additional color, or you can set it with like just a translucent powder. All right, so now I'm gonna do a little bit of bronzer. This is the Espresso Bronzer. This is actually like in my everyday makeup bag because it does show up so well on me. And like I said, apply powders with powder. So now that I put that setting powder on top of my blush, I can go in and add this powder bronzer along my cheeks. And I'm gonna put a little bit on my forehead as well. I usually like to have my eyeshadow and blush shades complement each other when I can. And I personally love an all matte eye look. So I'm actually gonna be using 2 of the eyeshadow duos. It's the Sunset and Dune, and I'm just gonna be using the matte shades in here. So first I'm gonna be taking the dark brown in the Dune duo, and I'm just gonna start that in my outer corner. This is really a super pigmented eyeshadow, so you don't need a lot of it. Never start off with too much. So I have the dark brown shade. Now I'm just gonna take the matte shade in the Sunset, and I'm just gonna place that all over my lid. I'm using the same exact brush. You don't have to have a million brushes to do this. And it just adds like a little bit of a like very soft, very matte. It's a super neutral eye, but it does complement the shade of blush I kind of created with those 3. And I love having like all the blushes from Subtl because I can create like my custom shades when I want to. Like I can mix like the deep plum with the riveting red. That gives me like a very pretty like berry tone. If you have more than one, trying to like mix them together because they make really cute color combinations. Okay, and that is my finished look for today for a little bit of exaggerated blush. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Again, my name is Niara Alexis. You can find me by that handle on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok as well. So thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time.